This week's Photoshop tip is on creating edges, so both hard edges and soft edges. Let's start with a hard edge. You'll notice a lot of times we use the lasso tool. If you hold down the lasso tool in the tool palette, you'll see you have options for a polygonal lasso tool and a magnetic lasso tool. We like to just use the lasso tool. Hotkey is L. The reason why is because you can have a variety of sticky points. So if I hold down Option on the keyboard, and you'll see you get these sticky points that create straight lines from point to point. But also, you can also kind of freely draw with this tool. So it's nice because you can get a variety between sticky points and just kind of hand drawing, depending on if you need kind of a curve or connect the dots sort of thing. So if you let go of the Option key, it'll just connect back and close out the loop. Holding down Option in the lasso tool while you have a selection, you can subtract from your selection. Holding down kind of Shift, you can add to your selection, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and create a new layer and fill this shape. And like we talked about last week, you can go ahead and preserve transparency on a shape like this and just start painting away, and you'll see that you can just start painting within that shape, which is really nice. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way, I'm going to create a new layer here, is if you go to the brush tool, and under the brush tool you'll see there's a pencil tool. And if you went ahead and took this pencil tool and started drawing with it, you can just kind of freely draw. The thing you want to make sure of is that you create a closed shape. So you go ahead and close this shape off. And then if you go to the gradient tool, under the gradient tool you'll see there's a paint bucket tool. So go ahead and select the paint bucket tool. And then just click inside this closed shape, and you'll see that it creates this nice closed shape. What's great about this is normally when you just use the brush tool and you create a closed shape, something like that, and fill it with the paint bucket tool, you'll see that you get this haloed edge. The nice thing about the pencil tool is you do not get that haloed edge. It goes ahead and fills in that shape. So that's really, really nice. So those are two ways of creating a hard edge in Photoshop. What about soft edges? So if we talk about soft edges, there's a couple things that you'll notice we do quite a bit of. So I'm going to switch back over here to the brush tool and just start painting in this shape. And I'm just going to create this muzzle of this fox. So you'll notice a couple things. One, you'll notice that we will oftentimes, while we have the paintbrush tool selected, hold down the Option key and color select from within this. The nice thing is our brush is set to opacity on pressure. The pressure on the Wacom tablet affects the opacity. So you get kind of these transition colors between kind of this opaque white that we have, that's the color I have, and the color that it's kind of blending with. So you'll see all the time we'll color select within a gradation to create a soft edge, so that we're just kind of color selecting those transitional colors between. So that's one way. But another way that we also create soft edges is if you go to the blur tool, you'll notice under the blur tool is this smudge tool option. My smudge tool is the same paintbrush that I use to paint with, this textured brush that's pretty blocky and set to, the pressure is set to affect the opacity of it. And I set the strength of the smudge tool to 30%. And you'll notice when I do this, I just basically start to push the paint around that's already there. This is nice. It's a little bit tricky because it creates a very CG looking smudge. So oftentimes in a final painting, I actually will go back and select the paintbrush tool, and go ahead and paint back that edge a little bit to create a little bit of texture to break up the CG smooth textures sometimes the smudge tool creates. All right? So those are two ways of creating edges, and you'll see kind of in a big way how the bigger the smudge tool, it really pushes the paint around quite a bit. Great, and that's the Photoshop tip of the week.